So yeah, the idea today is that we are going to be talking about, going to have a quick reflection on last year. We're going to look at look ahead to next year as well. Look at some of the projects that we're on with. We're going to be interspersed as well with some people from Kenya as well, some of the Memusi team from Kenya as well. So we've these are videos that I recorded yesterday, and in fact, one of them 15 minutes ago as well. Reason I did that, as ever, is just to make sure that people were not having bad signals. And it's late in Kenya as well; they're 3 hours ahead, so it's dark there as well. So I just wanted to make sure that the quality of content was good. So the session's going to be run a little bit differently. The last two Memusi lives that I did, I spoke directly to camera. I'm going to change things up a little bit this time. Steve Webb is going to be speaking to me. It's going to be conversation between Steve and I. Steve is a trustee of the Memusi Foundation, and Steve's worked on a lot of the online content that we've created as well. And some of the content that we've done, I've liked how it's been conversational between Steve and I rather than me presenting. So I just wanted to try that today. Hopefully, again, people will like that content. What I'm going to do, first of all, as I said, we're going to be interspersed with some videos from Kenya. So I'm going to start with one of my colleagues, Peter Rapasa, a colleague of mine who basically does everything for us in Kenya. And I spoke to him earlier on this evening, just checking in with him. Just wanted to give him the opportunity to talk to the Memusi supporters. So bear with me while I quickly share my screen. Sound. Here we go.
I like your goggles.
Thank you. Where are you?
I was outside, but probably at the dark, so I'm there. I'm around now.
I can see you now.
Oh yeah, how are you there?
I'm okay. How are you?
How was your day? You had a very busy day, though.
It's been a busy day. It has been a busy day. How's your day been?
It's okay. I was just meeting some few friends, but I'm around now. I'm home.
Good. Are you all set for the weekend for the medical camp?
Yeah, definitely, but I'll be going there tomorrow.
Okay, good.
So I want them to get to me when I think we're prepared for everything, so that we can start early on Saturday.
Good.
Yeah.
Listen, Peter, I'm on a call with lots of Memusi friends. We're doing Memusi Live again, so I wanted to give you an opportunity to say anything that you're wanting to say at the end of the year to friends online, so Memusi friends, anything that you're wanting to say.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. To me, I would say everything has been good so far.
Yeah.
However, we've been into a problem, or rather the pandemic effect, which has disturbed most of families. But we are trying to live with it, and we have hope that maybe by next year, 2022, would be a different year altogether. And we need to push up and try to make our means again and start well with our school, because it has not been into the way we expect, because we need to keep track of the kids, keep track of the families, keep track of everyone there. But it has never been there, and still we are missing our foreign friends. It's not even, I wouldn't say foreign friends though, but I would say because we are now far, so I feel you are not part of us here.
Yeah.
But you are into our hearts, and we need you people. It has been a long time before we see you, and like now I'm seeing Matt is like, I'm close there. Always I might even come there for dinner. But everything is good. General. Yeah.
Good. So
we really
good. So for everybody's benefit, what does Christmas look like for Rapasa? What will be happening in the Rapasa household this Christmas?
Yeah, this Christmas I expect to have my entire family though. I'm expecting Brian to come.
Yeah.
And we expected to go home because it has been about 2 years down the line, haven't been much there. And we hope, for being Christians, we believe that Jesus is born into our hearts, but we also expect good future. Though we are going to be as a family at home, and we expect each and every member of our family, the community, the clans, will be happy seeing us, and we'll be happy seeing them. There are those who have been away for a long time, and there are those who might be ill. There are those who might be not expecting us because we want to do it as a surprise. But definitely we need to be there. And usually when we meet as a family, we talk and we do some donations, maybe as much as one would want. One would come with the chicken, one would come with the maize flour, one would come with some money. So collectively as a family, we want to stay together and have a good Xmas together.
Good. Well, I will obviously speak to you before Christmas, but I think on behalf of everybody else who knows you, Peter, I'm sure everybody's wishing you a happy Christmas as well. Okay?
Good. Yeah, I'm also wishing everyone a happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And despite all that we've undergone, we want to close this year and we start a new year with open mind. And we hope everything will not be like this month, this year now.
Yeah.
We expect everything to go on well, and we expect to meet you also. And we wish you all the best. We wish a prosperous year. We wish you all that you've done. God would at least reward you abundantly. We need that you be in peace also, and you feel that you are part of us here, and we also part of you there. But together, let's have love. Together, let's have love. And we need that love that enriches us so much with you people.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Good.
Peter, keep working.
Yes, please.
Keep working hard.
That's crazy, man. I'll be hardly working though.
Hardly working, yeah. Keep working. Keep working hard. Take care, Peter.
Take care too.
Bye. Okay, Steve, over to you.
Right, thank you, Matt, and good evening, everybody. I didn't realise I was acting as your elf this evening, Matt. I would have dressed up appropriately, but you'll have to do with the Christmas tree behind me as a gesture towards the festive spirit.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you taking time this morning. Well, it'll be this evening when we're playing this video, but thanks.
Right, apologies. Go on, Steve. Sorry.
No, that was obviously deliberate to prove to everybody that we're running live this evening. So, are you ready for your first question, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so as the year draws to an end, from a Memusi perspective, what do you think have been the highlights of 2021?
Yeah, so I obviously I've got a rough idea of what we're talking about tonight, and I wanted to make some notes, and to pick a highlight, I think of the last year is an incredibly difficult thing to do. However, I looked back at notes of things that we have done in the last year, so I wanted to just touch upon some of those. I think first and foremost, as we entered 2021, we were a couple of days into the year and school opened for the first time in a year, which is obviously massive. We got our KCPE results at school, and our grades had progressed by 16 points. We were one of only 2 schools in Magadi that had progressed over the pandemic, and I think, a massive testament to the work that we've done. So that was obviously huge for us. We have launched a number of different initiatives at the school as well. So we've now have a Saturday morning football camp that teacher Eric runs that brings, again, children into the school environment to learn on a weekend. There's a scout program as well, which again does something very, very similar. We've continued to roll out the Smart Aid program. We ultimately reached 70,000 people who were at risk of starvation through that program. We have implemented our IT projects into 2 schools. We launched Memusi C. We've launched a new school. We built 2 classrooms at Memusi B. We've built 2 teachers' houses at Memusi B. We opened 22 schools on the back of COVID, schools that would have been unsafe. and in fact would have been breaking the law if they'd have opened. We ultimately helped reach 22 schools and 8,000 children to get back into school safely. We built 2 toilets, we've installed electricity, we've built 4 innovative classrooms, which I'll talk about later on. We've had fundraising from so many people on this call, so many supporters. We've had people doing the London Marathon, we've had abseils, we've had step challenges, we've had cycle races, we've had people doing the lived-in experience, people opening shops online. We've had people doing swimming the channel, virtually swimming the channel. So loads of people doing the fundraising. We've been successful for the first time ever in our existence with 2 grants applications. So we were able to provide brand new desks within our school as well, and then refurbish our own desks to support other schools. We've secured funding for 1,000 girls to receive AfriPads, so the reusable sanitary products. We've opened the online charity shop, we've had pop-up shops, all of those things. And then we've also dealt with COVID and a COVID outbreak in Magadi, and we're now dealing with a drought. I think there's so much happened in the last year. I don't think it would be right for me to talk about any highlight, but I think, you know, the one thing that I think is really important is that the kids are back in school, and that's what we're about. We've had to try so many different things through COVID. So to be able to open the school and open the school safely for children to walk back into school 3 days into January this year was massive for us. So I think that's probably the top thing for me.
Absolutely. And I think that list of achievements would be impressive in any year, but given it's a COVID dominated year, both here and of course in Kenya and around the world, then it's particularly impressive. So so well done, Matt. Speaking of COVID, are things back to normal in Magadi area now after their COVID lockdown?
Are things back to normal? No, they're not. From a COVID point of view, a lot better. If you look at statistics in Kenya, there is hardly any cases. However, I would retain exactly what I said in Memusi Live 1, which is all to do with the testing. You know, it costs a lot of money to test, and therefore, statistically, we know that people aren't getting tested. We know that it is there. So you know, it's as back to normal as it possibly can. I think Kenya are very much living with it, but living with it in ignorance in a lot of ways. I say no, not back to normal, because Kenya are now living with a drought. You know, we've gone from one significant problem to another. I'm getting people on a daily basis contacting me and saying, Matt, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And Matt, it's getting worse. The problem is, you know, in such a dry, arid area, that livestock's getting impacted. Livestock are dying, you know, which is people's income. I had a look earlier on this week at the news. As the last time somebody contacted me, which 2 days ago, and said things are really hard, I searched Kenya drought, you know, please do so and look at the news online. There was an article by Al Jazeera saying that they're expecting that 2.4 million people in Kenya are going to struggle to eat, are going to struggle to find food. That's the level of the drought that's going on in Kenya right now. Cattle that people have got. And again, you know, I talked in previous sessions about how people will, if they want to eat, they sell their livestock, which then leads to them be able to do other things, right? So the value of livestock has reduced from, on average, selling a cow for $357. They're now worth $45. So the savings that people have got, because the animals are so ill, because the animals are bordering on death, the value has just drastically gone down. So you've got people struggling to eat, and again, the forecast is that 2.4 million people will start moving to starvation. Again, if you read the article that I'm referring to there, they're also predicting that the weather system that is in the analysis on the weather system is that the next rain due after right now, because it's supposed to be raining right now, is May, and the forecasting that it's not going to rain then either. So, you know, you're talking significant problems. So, you know, it's things back to normal. perhaps so from a COVID point of view, but it's going from one problem now to another.
And when you say a lot of Kenyans are living in ignorance, I assume you mean it's the lack of data, a lack of testing. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. If you get COVID and you can't get tested, it's just you get on with it, and that's it. It's the lack of testing. It's the lack of knowledge that you actually have got COVID if you get it.
Yeah. It must have been a difficult year as well for the teachers and the children in our schools. How do you feel that they've fared with the ordeal?
I think remarkably. I do think remarkably. I think there's probably a couple of reflections that I've got there. I said in my introduction that we were one of only 2 schools who actually progressed during COVID. And I think a testament to a number of teachers who continued trying to support the delivery of learning during a year of lockdown. And so I think to progress at the level that we did, I think is testament to the teachers. I think similarly in the last year, one of the real difficulties has been children used to not learning, children having to come back into a classroom and teachers having to teach children how to learn again has been a massive thing. So, the amount of challenges that they've had has been remarkable. There are, what happens when you have a drought in Kenya as well is that, people will try and take their cattle and try and save their cattle. So they will move around the country to try and find pasture. Really difficult, almost impossible right now in Kenya. But again, you've got children who are perhaps being left by their family, so to live with neighbours. So there is so much, it's such an unsettled environment that we're trying to teach in right now. So I think they continue to be a remarkable group of people.
Absolutely agree with that. And every contact I've had with them this year is testament to the fact that they have that instilled sense of optimism and hope. And here in the UK, we're about to enter new restrictions again because of the Omicron variant. But the turning of the year is obviously traditionally a time for renewed hope and energy and optimism. So what do you see as the priorities going into 2022 for Memusi, Matt?
Priorities are to try and normalise back into the routine that we had before. In Kenya, you're trying to catch up. They've shortened school holidays. The school calendar's different. As I said, where we've had to try and help people learn how to learn again. There's the amount of pressure that is on kids because of the new calendar is ridiculous, and we're trying to make sure that our children can cope through that. So I think the priority is at Memusi is to try and normalise things again. In addition to that, it's a political year next year. There are elections going on next year as well, which often start to unsettle things. There is rumour / commitment that the infrastructure, the structure of the school year is changing in Kenya. So there will be a change in the number of year groups that are in primary education as well. So having to adapt to that. Fortunately, we're ready. Should that come in next year, as it's threatened to do so, we will be ready for that. But again, there is a change in the curriculum on the back of a pandemic in a drought shows the level of challenges that we're facing as well. So again, we're tackling that, and we're trying to be at the forefront of being ready for that. So I think they're our priorities, as well as continuing to do what we do, which is reviewing our own programs, making sure that they're delivering what we need to do, making sure that the outputs from Memusi are the very best that they can be. So all of those things, I would say.
And one of the things, it's illustrated by your answer, Matt, I think one of the things that impresses me about Memusi, given it's especially such a small charity, is that you're able to be so flexible to respond to new challenges as and when they come up, and they do on a frequent basis.
Yes, absolutely. I think you've got to. Good.
Okay, I think we're going to have a break here, won't we, Matt?
We are, Steve. Yeah, so I think it's probably pertinent timing. As we said at the start, we're going to intersperse with a little bit of content I caught up with Solomon, and who's the head teacher at Memusi, and teacher Anne, who's our longest standing teacher. I caught up with them yesterday to do two things. First of all, as I had Solomon to reflect on the last year, so building upon what we just talked about. But then I also wanted to ask them, given that we're a matter of weeks away from Christmas, I wanted to ask them about Christmas as well, to understand what that is like in Kenya. So bear with me while I share my screen.
Because of children. Okay. Solomon and Anne, thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk about Christmas, but
yes,
because I've got you, Solomon, it's a good opportunity to hear from you about school and how school is going, how Memusi is progressing this year. You know, we had a year off because of COVID, where children across Kenya were not learning. We had the pandemic, but we also had people starving. We had lots of scenarios across Kenya that people were facing, and we had a conversation with Anne and Alice probably about 6 months ago. And we talked about how it was difficult for children after a year off coming back into school and understanding how to learn again. So it'd be good to understand now how you think that Memusi is doing, how school is doing, how the children are doing, and what are your hopes for the next year as well?
To begin with, sir, the pandemic, of course, affected the country and internationally, but Memusi School, as a school, we were not badly affected, because from the look of things, children came back in large numbers, apart from a few isolated cases, which we went out of our way to know where these children were. Of course, the other factor that contributed to the few to stay away is the drought.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy the drought affected them drastically. But I'm very happy, in conjunction with the administration in the village, we tried to locate all our children where they are, and they came back to school.
Yeah.
As I'm talking now, children are very happy in school. We have a very big enrollment of around 300 plus children in school. So they're happy with us. More so, we were very much impressed with the work of the foundation led by you. You are really supporting us and supporting the school wholeheartedly, so much that the school was not affected. Yeah. That one I'm very happy to report. And as I'm talking, you can see we are healthy persons. We are not succumbing to, or we're not complaining of anything.
Good. So what are your hopes for next year? What are your hopes for the children next year? Are you looking optimistically at next year?
Quite optimistic, sir. And I should not forget, with the new structure in place, which you have not come over to see, but you've been seeing it over, we are very much impressed about it. I invited a few parents here, like they were wondering what has become of Memusi. I told them, and I repeat my slogan that Matthew is like a giraffe, he sees very far. On one side.
What do you think of the new classroom? What do you think of that new build? Do you like it?
In fact, we are very much happy about it. It's a unique structure, one of its own in the village. On one Sunday, I was shocked to see one of the passers-by, a European who is based somewhere in Kitale, just stopped by the road to come in and see what a new structure on the compound. However, then I said, you have put infrastructure in place. So what is left, as you have said, it's now a challenge to us to make sure that we reciprocate the efforts the foundation is giving by giving out what is expected of the foundation.
Good.
So next year, we are hopefully that, God willing, now that we thank God we have not been hit by the pandemic, we are looking forward to the best out of Memusi.
Excellent. Good. So let's just quickly talk about Christmas then. Okay, so Christmas is coming up.
Yes,
I'm interested to hear about what Christmas is like in Kenya. So, Teacher Anne, what will you be doing on Christmas Day? What will you do?
since we shall be away,
Solomon, I asked Teacher Anne. Let Teacher Anne answer.
Okay. Hello, Matthew. Thank you to have this opportunity to talk about Christmas. As Memusi School and Memusi family, we are going to break for a Christmas, and as our culture and traditional in Africa, all the pupils should go home and celebrate with their parents. And most of the parents, they are not well up enough, because we know in Christmas we celebrate, we should have food to share with the families who are capable and others who are poor. So as a Christmas, it's like coming together as families and churches. We share what we have. You share with families who are capable and others who are not capable. So we are praying at least all the pupils, at least it's a short days where people to go home, but at least to unite with their parents and their family members, at least to celebrate together. They worship together. It has been a tough year, but we thank God, because as Memusi family, Memusi school, we have been well kept care.
Brilliant. So again, just to summarise what you were saying there, the families will come together, but this is about families who have something helping families who don't have anything. So families who would struggle to eat are helped by families who have something. So they would share their food.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Solomon, what will you do on Christmas Day?
Primarily, I will be celebrating with my family back home. Just as my friend has mentioned, we normally invite the villagers. Then we share what we have. We take it the Christian way, that the little you have, you share with your colleagues, neighbors. And then after that, of course, we look forward to becoming back in January. So we celebrate. We go to church on a Sunday. The first thing after breakfast, we go to church. Thereafter, you invite a few friends to our homes. Then we share the experiences we have in life. Then it's from there that you set your goals for the succeeding year, for the coming year. Like now, 2022, after you have sat together, you marry, then you now plan for the coming year. That's what normally happens back home.
Okay. And is there such thing in Kenya as gifts? Do you give presents to each other, to children? Do you give presents?
Such as we normally go to churches, and some churches, children, they normally recite verses in birth of Christ, and then as churches, they normally present the pupils some presents. They can have some books, exercise books, pencils, at least, and treats to motivate children, at least to bring them together and to know the importance of being a Christian and the importance of going to church to worship God. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe some supplement to that on the Boxing Day 26. Initially, it was mistaken that people were to box one another. The reality was not that one. That's when you now give presents or gifts to the less fortunate ones in the family.
Okay, so you would, and what sort of things would that be? What sort of things would you give to the less fortunate?
We give them like the consumables, sugar if they don't have, bread, buy them soft drinks. They also enjoy that occasion.
Okay, I understand.
So that they don't feel like isolated in the society.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Okay, I think our time's up. Thank you both for taking the time. Thank you for all of your effort and energy over the last year at Memusi, and long before that, but let me say thank you for the last year. Please can you pass on my thanks to all of the teachers and community at large, and the children as well. Please can you pass on my thanks and everybody's thanks for everything that people are doing. We've got a medical camp on Saturday. So again, I look forward to seeing how that goes, and it's great again that we're able to give that gift to the community as well at this time. So before I go, are there any messages that you would like to give to friends in the UK who are watching in?
We are very grateful to have such an opportunity with you, Matthew. It is one of the rare occasions where we can have a video talk like this one. As I wind up, those friends who are watching, we are just advancing towards Christmas. We want to wish them a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2022. We look forward to meeting in person. This is a very rare opportunity. So we thank God for having this opportunity, and we thank God to spare everybody who is watching, to spare us so that we meet in person, so that we talk face to face. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Thank you.
May I say a very, very warm thank you to all of you who have done all this wonderful work in Kenya. It's 60 years since I was there as a national serviceman, and I really got to work very, very closely with lots of local schools. And I just congratulate you all for all the hard work that you're putting in. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, Steve, back to you. Sorry, Steve, I've
Okay, I'm off mute. Wasn't that interesting? They said about the how they interpret the Christmas traditions there, that you can see a common thread with their own, but ours has ballooned into something far more commercial, and it feels like they've still got a perhaps a more purist Christian view in terms of giving to the people who need it in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my reflection as well. Very, very much so. Yeah.
I'd like to turn, if I may, Matt, to some of the interesting projects which we've I know a little about, but we would like to know more. I'm sure everybody else on the call got going on into next year. How do you think the outreach program to support other schools in the Magadi region is going, and are there any plans to change that next year?
Yeah. So how do I think it's going? I think it's going well. I think it's it was the initial idea behind Memusi Outreach was that we wanted to help as many schools as we possibly could, as many children as we possibly could, to get a Memusi education without having to come to a Memusi school. You know, our overall strategy evolved from, you know, just working with a couple of schools to actually saying, okay, we will, the schools that we're working with, we give our absolute focus to make them the very best that they can be, to be markers of quality, to be beacons of quality that people look to to how we do education. We then have outreach, which is where we receive grants, or we, through partnerships, can help other schools to start driving towards that quality. So, for example, you know, we've done that through healthcare, in supporting children through healthcare. We've been able to again, as I said at the start, help 22 schools support 8,000 children to get back into school. Teacher development. So the work that we're doing with Impact Teachers, we're evaluating that at the moment to see if we can bring that back, probably in a more virtual setting. So the teacher development, the community empowerment, I spoke about the desks, and again, we refurbished our desks based on the grant that we had, and we were able to help provide 100 desks to into classrooms where there was no desk. You know, which is just massive that we can do that. We have received a grant to be able to provide sanitary products to every adolescent girl in Magadi, which again is massive. So you know, I see a seismic shift in Magadi. You know, and it's something that we continue to work with. It's something we continue to evolve. We will continue to assess those pieces of work that we do to make sure that every intervention that we have is having the right impact, and we will continue to build on that. So we've got a new program that we're about to launch next year with a couple of young people from Kenya called Kickstarter, who are going to be working with our girls who are grade 8 as they transition through to high school. So there's lots of interventions that we're doing, and we will continue to do. So it absolutely is the right thing to do, because I don't want a couple of great schools and then everyone else, our neighbours, are suffering. I want to bring everybody along on the journey because it's the right thing to do. So yes, I think it's going well. I'm happy with what we're delivering.
Good. And when will we know? When will we be able to see some data around what the performance uplift might be in those other schools in the region?
Yeah, so we again will continue to look at an evaluation process, to be able to look at attendance rates, to look at retention, to look at enrollment, to look at the grade improvements as well. But obviously they're not every marker of that. My friend John continues to remind me that they're not every marker of success as well, that there is more there as well. So we continue to evaluate, we continue to look at our programs and continue to make sure that we're again delivering all of the right programs that we are doing. Right, as I said, I repeat, I firmly believe that everything that we're doing is having a massive impact, because I hear it from the ground.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. And you mentioned in your conversation with Solomon the new classroom, and I see you've been posting a lot recently about the new innovative design that we've been piloting. But what's the early feedback in terms of what it's actually like to work in those buildings, and what do the children think of them?
They love them. They love them. I think as I probably alluded to on one of the earlier Memusi Live sessions, I think it's one of those things where it's great in theory, and it's great when you see an architect's drawing of it, but then when it starts, you think, is this going to end up in the way that, is it going to look like the drawings look, and is it going to have the results that we intend it to? But it has in every single ambition for those classrooms. Every box has been ticked. The temperature is lower. Every stranger who contacts me, who says I've been to see one of your classrooms, will comment about how cool it is, what a more comfortable environment it is to learn in, how beautiful it is. As well as Solomon said, I'm getting reports that people are driving past, stopping the car, and coming to the school gates to say, "Can I have a look?" It's capturing the imagination, and it's absolutely doing everything that we would want it to. So absolutely delighted with that. The kids love it, teachers love it. It's great.
It's good to hear. But what's going to happen next with the new classroom design idea? And what do you see as, what's the opportunity for us as a charity with that? Yeah,
so we're currently building our 4th of those at the moment. I've got funding in the last week for 2 more that we will start building as well, all within projects that we are directly involved with within our own schools. The really important thing is that this was never just about us designing something that was great and keeping it to ourselves and putting our arms around it. The idea is that I wanted to. So, I talked about what Memusi does. We've got our own schools, markers of quality, invest all our energy into making them the very best that they can be, continue to learn, continue to evolve the education program there. We've then got Memusi Outreach, and the third part of what we do is influencing change. And this is a massive way of doing that. The reason being, there is so much investment. So anyone who invests in education, and I talk about the government, I talk about other charities, a great deal of other charities. Strategy is infrastructure, is buildings. The whole reason that I wanted to get more people interested in this and more people involved is because we can save half of the construction cost. Because when you're working in education, it's not about a classroom. In fact, the classroom is probably one of the last things that you need. Classroom is critically important, but you need a teacher, you need to feed your children, you need healthcare for your children, you need desks, you need textbooks, you need trained teachers, you need motivated teachers, you need all of those things. And then you put a classroom around all of that. Because otherwise, without just having a classroom, classroom's great, but what if there is no desk? What if there is no teacher? What if a child is ill and can't come to school? And that is the argument that we've got. So I'm hoping to be going to Kenya in January. I've got a great deal of people, other charities, ministers from the Kenyan government, investors in education, influencers, coming down to look at it, but not just to look at the classroom, but to actually hear about the research that Memusi's done, all of those interventions and the impact that it's had. Female hygiene, for example, the work that we've done there through AfriPads, we've reduced absence of girls in Magadi by 40%. Huge. Okay, so by saving the money in construction, you can start doing things. You can start that's just an example of money saved, help you to achieve those things. Massively important. Now, the great thing is, I've posted about this and started to tell the story on social media and done videos and interviews on this. The great thing is that people are starting to listen, which is great. We know that Born Free Foundation, I had a conversation with Will Travers. He was interested for the work that they do in education and the environment. So we've got one charity there. We've had Street Child Africa get in contact. Schools, a charity in South Africa, one in Gambia, one in Nigeria. So there's a lot of interest, and the whole idea is here that we have an idea. We know that it works. Our research has proven what it is to deliver quality education. And if we can influence change wider in Africa, let's do it.
Absolutely. I think it's so exciting. And getting interest from the local community and then being curious about what they see is great too, isn't it? An unexpected side effect, I think.
Absolutely.
In your answer about outreach, you mentioned the Kickstarter program, and I must ask you about this because my wonderful wife was involved in connecting that up. Can you tell us a bit more about that initiative and what we hope to achieve from that?
Yeah. So Kickstarter, it's an idea that was brought forward by two Kenyan young women who have been educated, and they have seen the benefit through being mentored. They've seen the benefit of being supported in their own education by other young women to talk about the changes that they're going through, the challenges that they will go through to help them to succeed. We know that there are community pressures. We know that there is pressures from marriage, of getting employment, of having children. We know that you are taking people from, when you progress from primary education to secondary education, it's a whole new set of pressures. The Kickstarter program will be a mentor-led program, which is peer-to-peer. So it's girls who have left, have gone into secondary education, who've qualified from secondary education. They can pair with girls at primary education, grade 8, who are about to make that transition, and support them as mentors, as somebody they can trust, they can build relationships with, to help the transition of girls into secondary education to be as smooth as possible. The aim is, the ultimate goal is here, that you get more girls transition into secondary education, you get a higher retention, and ultimately higher grades, and girls going on to bigger and better things here. So, and then it becomes a circular program whereby girls who are leaving Memusi are then able to come back. They're able to then join the program. So they are mentees. A couple of years later, they will become mentors. And I think that is an incredibly exciting thing, that you are getting girls supporting girls to make that transition, because it's an incredibly difficult journey for so many of them.
And great role models as well for our senior girls in terms of seeing what the what's possible, what the potential could be.
Absolutely.
Okay. It would be good to talk a bit now, Matt, about the support people can give next year. I mean, people are on this call or watching it on playback, thinking this all sounds really good, but I'm not sure how I can help. What's the answer?
So I think there's a couple of things. I think, as ever, the support that people are giving, people on this call, that people sponsoring children, is more important than it ever has been. So, you know, a massive thank you to everyone who sponsors children. If you know other people who are in a position to do that, please do encourage them to do that. We've got challenges that are going to be happening next year through big events, you know, one-day events of treks, like the Yorkshire Three Peaks or Snowdon, and big events like that people can sign up to. We're going to be running things that have worked really well. So the lived-in experience that a number of people got involved with this year, we will repeat, and you know, people can do that anytime. We did a 10K a day for a month, all of those things. So that's all fundraising based. One of the things that I also want to introduce next year, and we've got a school that's going to be coming on board to support Memusi and is going to help test this as well, is something that we're calling Memusi chapters. Memusi chapters is an idea that I've had for many years. I regard it as the greatest thing that we've never done. But it's good that will provide a great opportunity for people to get involved, if people are interested in wanting to help, that this gives a group of interested people, without waiting for my instruction, to be able to act and to be able to support our work.
You can't leave it there, Matt. I think calling something the greatest thing we've never done, you need to give us more details. Okay. How do you see that working?
Okay, so I think one of the things that I've always found, particularly when we take volunteers out to Kenya, that you get people who will come back from Kenya, or indeed whenever I talk, and people will say, how can I help? How can I get involved? And it's always a really difficult thing to be able to answer. The chapters came from an idea of a charity, a really inspirational charity that I know, who runs something very similar, and it puts the power in the hands of the supporters of a group of people who want to be able to make a difference. Now, the idea always was that this would be geographical. So we could have an Edinburgh chapter and a Bristol chapter and a Leeds chapter, Manchester chapter, all of those geographical things. I guess where we are now in society, it doesn't necessarily need to be geographical. It could be a virtual group. But the idea is that a group of people can come together to define their own agenda for the year ahead. We will have some rough boundaries that we want people to operate in. You know, fundraising would be great. We want to spread the word. We want to get more people interested in what we do. All of those things. But I don't want to say, right, everybody, I want you to get behind AfriPads, because that might not be something that you're necessarily interested in. But water maybe, food maybe, and you know, I think one thing that I've found above all else from taking volunteers out is that it's such a diverse array of things that actually touch people, that actually inspire people, that actually lead people to want to act. And I want to build upon that. I want to give people that opportunity, because I've always felt right from day one, because this was exactly how I felt. I knew how I wanted to help, and nobody would let me help in the way that I wanted to do. So I want to enable people through this model, to enable people to come together as a group, virtual or face to face, if it allows in time. But to be able to say, do you know what? This is what I feel. This is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I'm wanting to do and get involved with. But then work with me, to work with Sally, to actually say, okay, let's define what you want to achieve in that and help us that way. And I think really just building upon people's passions is what I want to do. And to give people that platform to go, you can get involved.
But doing the thing that's important to you, rather than the thing that's important to yourself, Matt, or to somebody else.
Well, I think the thing is, I've got an array of things that we do, an array, you know, and again, that is the boundaries that I'm talking about. So it wouldn't be a case of going, you know what, crack on and go do what you want, and you go and source a load of computers, and you go and source this. We do healthcare, we do female hygiene, we do female empowerment, we do community empowerment, we do all of these things. And now, is there one thing out of all of the things that we do that is actually inspiring you? Because if there is, then let's work together on enabling you to feel, to give you the platform to be able to make a difference in that space.
I think it's really interesting. Well, and what are you looking for from that, Matt? Are you looking for people to come forwards and say, I'm going to test the water? I'd quite like to see whether there's something that would work in my area.
Please do. It's theory. Like I say, it's the greatest thing we've never done. We're going to be doing it with 6 schools next year. What a great place to learn. Schools doing this. But I want Memusi supporters to do this. I know there's a load of people out there who want to do something, who've got the passion to do something. And if you want to act, then please do come forward. Drop me an email. You know where I am. Please just drop me an email and say, you know what, I'm interested in chapters, and let's give it a go and learn together, and hopefully design something that's gonna be really successful.
What a great idea. I've exhausted my list of questions, Matt. So I think we've covered most of the ground. Be quite keen to hear whether anybody on the call has got any questions that you want to ask. Something that I've forgotten to ask, Matt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If there is a question, please do just drop it into the chat function there at the bottom. I should have said that. I guess if there are any coming through, can I just say before we close off, there is going to be a short video we're going to show at the end of some of the kids. I just wanted to say, as we head towards Christmas, once again, thank you for standing so much with us in the last year. It's as ever, it's there are so many charities closing. I read from the Charity Commission about the challenges that charities have had. You know, the fact that we have been able to support our community in the way that we have done, to enable us to grow, to enable us to continue to deliver in the way that we have done. I cannot say thank you enough to people who fundraised, to people who've donated, to people who've sponsored children, everything. It means the absolute world to me and to the people we're working with. Many of you on the call will have donated. I've started a campaign this Christmas as well, very much building upon what Solomon and Anne and Peter had said about what Christmas is, and it's about helping those that have got nothing. That's what they do, and that's what I wanted to do. So we've got a program that we're going to be delivering 17th of December through to Christmas to try and reach as many street children, or children that are impacted by the drought, or children who've got nothing, and their families, to give as many people as possible. I think we're going to reach 8,000 people. The fundraising so far is, I think it's about £5,500, which is just remarkable, and I cannot thank you enough for believing in me in that. So thank you ever so much. Steve's got his hat on, he's promoting that. We've got Memusi hats. So again, Steve, do you want to say something about them?
Yeah, we've got a section of hats really just to test the water, see what demand there is for that. Of course, we haven't had any volunteer groups going out to Kenya this year, so it didn't fulfil the original brief. We've got a steady trickle of demand, but if you're interested, then please let myself know, or Julie know, or there's a link in the Memusi website for that. And we're just preparing a proposal for T-shirts as well, which you'll be able to choose your own size and colour and type. And we'll publish that when that's ready to go, hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
Brill. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're going to close off with a video. This was, again, earlier on this week. And it was during quiz reminder. Yes, Joe, absolutely, quiz reminder. We've got the Memusi quiz coming up, hosted by Alistair Mann from Match of the Day. Please do sign up. It's going to be a couple of hours just before Christmas. Again, I'll send a reminder out to everyone afterwards. Please join, come and get together, have some fun pre-Christmas, give what you can. But yeah, please do join us. It'll be fantastic. And once again, Alistair giving his time for free to make that happen. So please do join us. Before you close off, we've got a video of some of the kids yesterday, which Teacher Anne recorded for us. It was during a closing assembly at the school. So again, I hope you enjoy this. Once it's finished, I'll close down the session, but thank you yet again for joining. I will share my screen now.
Merry Christmas and a safe and peaceful New Year to you all.
There we go.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.